All right, welcome back. This is going to be a little bit of a channel update video, although there's no real video involved here. It's just going to be me speaking for the most part. Yeah, so basically, you guys have probably seen that it's pretty frequent that I have my videos back up and then I take them all down. And they might be up for a week and then made private again and all this stuff. And what that is I'm really struggling with trying to figure out what I want to do with this channel and you know where I want to go in terms of like PlanetSide 2 stuff or anything other than that. But and the hard thing is PlanetSide 2 to me right now, and for really since the end of Escalation last summer, it's really frustrating to play. And certainly Wrel and his team of super friends don't make it any easier, as I'm sure some of you have seen in the recent month or so. So yeah, like there's no shortage of ideas for videos that I want to do, but the most of the videos on the channel that I've done that are in depth, like discussing about stuff, if you really want to do a good video, you really have to sit down and write. And I love writing, but getting the motivation and the inspiration to sit down and write a script for a PlanetSide 2 video in October 2021 is, man, it's tough. Like the inspiration to talk about certain things makes it really hard with the state of the game. It might be different if I was logging in and playing every day. I play every now and then, maybe an hour, whatever I can stand, which tends to be about an hour or so, sometimes even less. If I am playing it, like Land Whale asked me to log in and play a max so he could get some like engineer repair ribbons, about a week ago. And God, even doing that, like you'd think, I'm gonna go have fun. I'm gonna go sit in a max, but it was at some fight at the Ascent, and we were in the tunnels and the caves, and the Halloween grenades spam, and like I was weapons locked for. I think we were there for like 20 minutes, and I was weapons locked for like 15 minutes because you get like a good angle, like you walk in and kill like 9, 10 guys, and then these absolute fucking one-celled organisms, all this standard outfits, like the SKLs and all those people, they just, there's a wall of 50 dudes at the other end of the cave that, if you're a max, like, you're getting repped and shit, and you're farming them. But these guys are like these one-celled organism infiltrator players that are cloaked. They just run into that wall in front of you, and I have fairly quick reaction time, and I'll still hit them once or twice maybe, right? So, and that adds up because there's so many of these people, and I don't know what their goal is. I can only imagine that it's some person who has no fucking idea of what's going on, no clue whatsoever. They're playing on, at that particular fight, they probably have like 8, 9-year-old hardware. They have in the single digits for frame rate, and they're just there at the fight. But because they're there and they are doing what they're doing, I can no longer play the game. So even events that should be like farm time, log in and help my friend get his repair ribbons by sitting in a max like a degenerate. Even the fun in that is completely destroyed by it just the players in the game that you have to play around. And that's something that when I have been playing recently, and even on a lot of the streams that I've done, the ones I've done on YouTube, and I even streamed the game on Twitch for maybe a couple hours last week or so. The players, it doesn't matter what faction really, but the people that you're around, I don't ever remember them being so terrible. Like they've always been bad, but Um, it, I don't. It feels like no one around me ever wins a single gunfight. Like they just. I don't. You would see like generally with games that have like a long history, players tend to improve over time. So you generally see the skill floor rise up. Gamers rise up over time. But in PlanetSide 2, it doesn't seem to. It doesn't ever seem to go anywhere, and I think part of that is there's just so many low effort, zero ability required ways to play the game that if you're just a shit player who has no real drive or incentive to improve at anything you do, and this carries over into people's lives too. Um, they they never get better. The guys that are those guys that are sitting in the big Zerg outfits and all that stuff. They really stagnate. They never get better at the game, and everyone stagnates to a point. Like even someone like me, or players that play like me, like we hit our plateaus, right? I've hit several plateaus in my time playing the game, but there's always, you're always trying new things, and you're trying to break through and get better in some way, shape, or form. But not so the case with with the PlanetSide 2 community. And I'm really getting off on a tangent here, but the mind rot in that game. We spent all this time like with the mentor system. It's like, the skill floor in your game never really raises if all your mentors are shitters themselves. Like, do you guys see how that's a problem? I think you don't want to listen to the people who are telling you, the correct things to do to improve at the game. Granted, there are some of you that do that, and that's great. But it's like, man, it's like 98% to 2% going the other way. Because what's the average life cycle of the general player in this game? You join, you find out about the game. You see, God knows how you find out about the game, because I guess like Summit and streaming. That's funny. I maybe talk about that a little bit later, but. Yeah, you get recruited in the warp gate, or I'm sorry, not the warp gate, the foundational gameplay feature known as Sanctuary, which, by the way, I haven't used for anything in 2 years. So if there's a feature in your game that I don't use for 2 years and can continue to play the game normally, chances are, Rel, that it's not as foundational as you keep telling everyone it is. So they log into the game for the first time. They do the new stupid tutorial. They join a Zerg fit or some big outfit full of probably not very good, mostly not very good at the game players, don't understand what kind of game they're playing, etc. And then what's the prognosis on their development as a good player? It just doesn't happen. It can't happen. That room for growth is not there. I've always thought, and this was true for me, the fastest way to improve at really anything, if you take this out to life, is just be playing or doing whatever it is around or with people who are really good. Yeah, I mean, you can have some latent talent for it. That always helps. But the fastest way really to get better at something is to be surrounded by people who have the same drive to improve as you, or they're already good. So you're not going to get that. Most people that join this game are not going to get that from their average pub platoon or whatever outfit ops they're doing, because most of those people are completely clueless. They know how to play the game one way, and that is to dump a whole shit ton of pop and run into a base, set up all their little cheese gadgets and baby gates, or sit in their vehicle or pull a max as soon as something happens, and they're worried about their Rube Goldberg fucking loadout and their Milsim role play crouched in a corner, ultra graphics, low frames, high latency. That's what they're learning, and that's what they're getting from the game. Yeah, the players don't get any better. To get off on my uh, big tangent here, yeah, playing around these people is just it's rough. They're fucking horrible. Um, but anyway, yeah, like I said, there's a lot of ideas for videos that I'd like to do. I'd like to revisit at some point the drop off changes that were done. I think they were in 2017. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it was like spring 2017 ish. I'd like to revisit that because the justification for why ARs and LMGs also needed to have the same drop off as carbines, the justification that was used at the time was that they were putting those weapons more in line with carbines in anticipation of spreading out the weapons across various classes. Now, I'm not 100% certain, but carbines, my thing has always been carbines were put on LA. You have to realize the nature of light assault, right? So light assault is a class that can go anywhere. What's a really fundamental balance design thing for something that has unlimited mobility and can go anywhere? You probably need to limit their reach. You can't go anywhere and also touch everything, right? That's kind of a little stupid. So I think at least maybe, and this is just me speculating, but the maybe the reason that light assaults were given carbines in the first place, uh, from an original design perspective, was that uh, the fact that they can go anywhere, they can be anywhere at any given time in a fight, and having them also have weapons that have very little fall off is probably not a good idea, not very sane. So you had that base design, and then you have a guy who gets in charge of the game and starts doing a bunch of dumb shit to the class because reasons. I just think the reason that we were given for those changes, I mean, granted, they don't really have to give us reasons for any of the changes they do, but when you try to justify your changes with a bunch of word salad bullshit that turns out to not be true and was made up, and I think we've had enough time to see, that was 4 years ago. So, uh, kind of, that'd be nice to go back and revisit and look at and examine, why it's bullshit. Um, yeah, I thought about doing that. There's the med kit thing that I wanted to do. Most of the responses I got for that, by the way, were like either people didn't understand I mean, really unsurprising that PlanetSide players and people who watch PlanetSide 2 videos on YouTube are actually stupid. Um, they didn't understand the point. I thought I made it pretty clear what I was looking for, but there were some trolls, and there were just people who are stupid and don't know what I'm asking for, even though I don't know how I could have made it any more clear. So there's that medkit video, and maybe I do that when the next outrage comes. I don't know when that'll be. Population ethics is a video I've wanted to do for a really long time. I could feasibly do an entire improving as a player series. Shitter mindset videos, stuff like that. There's a ton of ideas that I have that I would love to do, but like I said, the motivation is just it's tough to want to make content for a game of players that, number one, don't deserve the content because they're Neanderthals, and for a game that is as cursed developmentally as that game is. Like it's not going anywhere, guys. PlanetSide 2 is not fucking going anywhere. Okay. Anyway, I guess I should talk about so it, I'm sure I know specifically some people have asked me to react to the NPE update. And naturally, of course, my hobby horse over the last few years, about, I guess, 4 years ish, 3.5, has been the Nanoweave thing. And we finally saw that change, or a change, hit with the NPE update. And if you've paid attention to my comments and responses to your guys' comments and all, you kind of already know my take on it. Is that I was I was pretty disappointed with the route that they went. Of course, naturally, you set it up for them. You set up the pins, and then you're like, bam, fucking easy, knock this one down. You put the ball right on the tee, you know, and they still fuck it up. They struck out on at t-ball, Uh, so the 10%. So man, putting a 10% movement speed debuff, I think is the laziest possible thing you can do, because for whatever reason they can't just at no point did they really don't ever want to remove anything, and I don't really know why. There's some things that are just shit, right? And we've gone to great length to examine critically why and how the Nanoweave suit slot affects multiple aspects of the game. And to me, the way they dealt with it, so they basically co-opted the idea. So they go on Reddit, and I know they read stuff. They go on Reddit and they read stuff from good players who talk about it, and they get the sense that there's an issue, but at the same time, they're also who they are, and they can't actually solve a problem. So what do? They do the laziest fucking thing possible, and let's just slap a 10% movement speed debuff. Let's not address any of the issues that were raised. Like the fact that it's still in the game, guys. You didn't really do anything, and I guess I can see where their thinking is coming from. But they're thinking, of course, because it's shitter mindset. The most frustrating thing to me is they took an examination of something that has been, critically thought on for 3 to 4 years, and they married that to shitty anecdotes from bad players who constantly die to people who are medkitting in gunfights, and blaming the movement, that the shit tier movement that this game has. I mean, the game is, god, the movement options that you have in this game are so pathetic. Like, it's so bad, but it's a real insight into how fucking terrible the players in this game are, and how low ability most of them are. Like, most of these guys, they start shooting at you. Obviously, they don't understand what kind of game they're playing. They don't understand how many bullets it takes to kill somebody. They don't understand anything, but they expect to just put their crosshair on the guy and hold their mouse one. And if you guys ever want a look at this is not just me talking shit, by the way. At any point, well, what's today? Today's Friday, right? So Friday, Saturday, Sunday is usually a big usually a lot more people are streaming and watching the Twitch directory for PlanetSide. If you really want to see this in action, go, and this is something I do from time to time, go into the Twitch directory and just go stream by stream by stream by stream and watch these players, watch how they shoot at people. You'll be amazed. Now, some of them, obviously, you can really easily weed out the good players from the bad ones right away. But the habits that these people have, and some of these people are not brand new. Like, most people will, that are brand new to the game will make it known in their title or whatever. But you see some of these people that have hundreds of hours that are just completely fucking oblivious to what their weapon is doing or how they should play certain situations. It gets back to the skill floor of the game never raising, because these people, I don't know what these outfits. I know some of these outfits. I know back in the day, these people have like outfit trainings and shit. I have no idea what the fuck happens in outfit training. Well, I kind of have an idea. They do like some meme army field manual training like we used to do, like out back on platoon duty. Just some hip pocket training. I think that's the thing they do. They're trying to relive their military experience days, if they have any at all. Um, man, to take what was done on Nanoweave, and the arguments for it, and obviously it can be really hard to parse the arguments like that. That you had that post from that fucking retard from Recursion, that Saint Celestine person, who basically everything that he said, I debunked most of it. I didn't actually go to his post and do it, but it wouldn't be the first time that an AC player would demolish a Recursion player and make them take their ball and go home. That wouldn't be the first time for that, but it's really easy to do when you're just wrong. So there was a lot of stuff that Cammy based his Nanoweave video or his discussion forum thing. A lot of it centered on the St. Celestine stuff. And the St. Celestine stuff was completely fucking stupid. And it was mostly wrong. And to just go from... I can't understand how you would conflate the view... What you can't do as a developer is listen to shitters. Okay, because when you listen to shitters, you make your game worse. It's really A plus B, right? It's real simple. So to conflate like something like the work I've done, and then try to marry that up, like mash it all into a sandwich with some fucking terrible player who does nothing but make anecdotes about shooting at people who are medkitting. That's exactly how you get a 10% move speed debuff on Nanoweave, because somehow in Wrel's mind it went from, of course we went to the lowest common denominator, the most non-important aspect of Nanoweave, which was the suit slot inventory, which I've been saying for years now is the least relevant of anything. We're trying to address that and the frustration of, I don't know, 6 people on your server at any given time that can actually manage to move competently. We've turned that into like some weird debuff, the move speed debuff on Nanoweave. Like, we've left Nanoweave in the game and we've just put a 10% move speed nerf on it. Now, since the hours that I have played, I've played maybe 15 to 20 hours since the nerf. I've used Nanoweave the whole time, and literally nothing has changed for me. But I'm someone who understands how to position. So if you actually understand how to position and play the game, like I told you guys, I've been telling you guys for months, once I figured out, or once it was leaked that this was a thing, it's not going to change the way I play at all, because I don't beat people with movement. I never have, and I never will. But apparently there's a lot of guys, well, not apparently. I know there are a lot of guys out there that never actually learned how to position, and their aim is like average, marginal at best, and they have to rely on movement because they don't learn the basics first. They go to whatever's the cheesiest way that they can put the least amount of effort in to learn how to play the game in an infantry setting and kill other people. Whatever's the lowest bar, that's what they go to first. That's why all the, like, before the crouch nerf or whatever that they did, like, you would always see these people at fights that you would get in gunfights with that you knew they had bad aim or marginal aim and they couldn't position, but every time they got in a gunfight with you, I mean, you would always kill them, and all they would do is mash their fucking crouch key over and over again, because that's all they knew how to do. And it didn't matter, whether it was relevant for them to crouch or not. It was a literal tick that they couldn't help, because it had been so trained and ingrained with them from the very beginning, because that's the first thing they started with. It's disappointing. Yeah, so those people, I said the 10% movement speed is a huge nerf to all the 2KD shit heavies who never learned how to play the game. And I've posted that a few places. I get downvoted on that a lot. People, 2KD heavies do not like me. So if 10% move speed debuff on Nanoweave has drastically altered the way you're able to play the game, I don't think you were as good as you thought you were in the first place. Now, what else have you seen stem from 10% move speed to Nanoweave? We've got all the you have these really strange, like, just not smart, uneducated, misinformed Rube Goldberg shit about resist shield being meta now. Like, it's not. It's not meta. It's unless you revert the last two 5% damage mitigation nerfs to resist, it's not going to be meta again, guys. It's just not. That's not how that works. You can throw together all the implants you want, and I read these weird threads about people saying they have 80 seconds of uptime, like, with resist in certain situations. It's like, what in what fucking universe in situation are you ever going to need 80 seconds of uptime to do what? Yeah, like, the people that say that and type this shit out, like, I can only imagine what their gameplay looks like. I don't know what the fuck these people do. But then, like, another reason resist is never going to be meta is because it's not a reactionary shield. It's a preemptive thought process that goes into it. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but the servers aren't getting any better. And with just the nature of the game, especially in like big fights, people don't realize that if you take 1 point of damage, it's literally worse than just running a Dren or the starter one. So, I'm sorry, guys, but resist. I've said this before, and I've said it again. Resist is not meta, and it's not going to be meta again. And I know you're really desperate to try to be on the new hip thing, but it's not going to happen unless they revert the last two nerfs it took. And by the way, it took those nerfs because of Carapace, and they were never reverted, of course. Yeah. So yeah, resist not going to be meta again. Sorry. I mean, it would be nice. I played, resist was meta for a long time. I played resist ASC for a super long time. And I enjoyed it because you had to think a little bit, but anything that has to do with thinking in this game, just don't even bother. It's not even worth it. Especially, when you're fighting people from fucking Micronesia who have a universal right to connect to the internet and connect to a server in Virginia. It's just not going to work out well for you. So anyway, yeah, like, you should probably, if you're a good player or have aspirations to still be a good player, which I don't know why the fuck you would at this point. You're wasting your time playing a dead game that now has less players than Heroes and Generals, by the way. You should still be using Nanoweave. There's no reason not to use it. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think that the movement speed thing debuff is a good change. I think it's bad. I don't necessarily like it. I don't like it. And it's not the way to go, but Wrel has some fascination with fucking around with move speed in a game that handles move speed really, really badly. Maybe instead of putting a shitty move speed debuff, we actually fix the fucking netcode in our game so it doesn't suck dick, or make the interpolation changes that we've been talking about for 2 or 3 years or however long now, the things that just never come down the pipeline. But I mean, that would require actual talent, and just putting a move speed debuff on the suit slot, and job well done, boys. We did it. I guess the theory is that there's enough 2K, and this might have some weight. There's enough shit player 2KD heavies and stuff that don't like it, that they may just get off of it completely. But I don't know. I still see plenty of people telling people not to. I tell people, use it. It's still really good. It's still meta. And by the way, I thought since now apparently, so the movement speed debuff made Nanoweave unusable, right? That's the gist I'm getting. So with that, I thought that flak armor was supposed to be overpowered now. That's what dumbasses on Reddit kept telling me. That flak would be overpowered now, that the game would be much slower, more cover-oriented, all that shit from that dumbass recursion guy. Man, what other stupid shit was in there? Max. I mean, maxes are just insane. And by the way, that implant, like, you just, man, it's like fucking Sideshow fucking Bob or whatever. The scene where he's just walking into the rakes.
over and over again. That's Wrel. He just keeps fucking up and making the same mistakes over and over and over, and there's just no learning. There's no capacity for learning when it comes to this kind of stuff. Yeah. So I think it was a shit change. I think you didn't actually deal with the problem. I think a lot of people who aren't very good at the game or had an overestimated conclusion about what their skill was in the game relied on a lot of things that weren't necessarily the core things that they needed to. So you have a lot of these people that only rely on movement to eke out kills against really bad players instead of, hey, why don't you just learn how to aim really good and position really well, and then you don't have to worry about move speed debuffs affecting your ability to play the game. Because when you rely on movement in these types of games, like even in Battlefield, you're seeing stuff now, you open yourself up to being fucked with by developers. And the two things that developers can never take away from you is your ability to aim in position. So if you're totally crushing and relying on crouch spam or whatever, or a slide ability or any kind of movement, and trust me, the movement in PlanetSide is not nearly as fast or as bad as some other games. You're just leaving yourself open to being fucked with by developers who don't know what the fuck they're doing. You know, catering to the lowest common denominator. Casuals ruin every video game, and this is an example of it. So if you want to be mad at anybody, don't be mad at the people like me who made the critical arguments telling them why it should just be removed from the game. Look, I never asked them to put a debuff. This is the stupidest fucking idea ever. I don't agree with it at all. I think it's dumb. I never asked for that shit. I told them to take it out of the game. So you want to get mad at somebody, get mad at idiot in charge, okay? So that's pretty much it for that. The Halloween event came. I guess I should talk about that a little bit. The fucking crossbow thing. I didn't play. I did not play during the crossbow thing at all because I watched Seth stream it, and he was playing it a lot, and like, Jesus Christ, like, you just it's insane to me that I guess it's really not insane now that I think about it. Like, what did I honestly expect? What do I honestly expect at this point? Because you can't expect any learning to have occurred over this 5 years or whatever. It's just the same shit, different year. Like, remember the excitement people got, or the pseudo excitement people got when RPG became its own thing, and they were like, yeah, our decisions now are going to be independent from Daybreak Games, and everybody was like, oh, there's maybe a chance here that we we can separate from some of the retardation that happens. Nope, sorry, same shit under a different name, same retards, same dumbass decisions over and over again. No play testing, and by the way, that crossbow needed to be hot fixed like within 2 days. Not, hey, we'll hit it with the next patch. No, that needed to be fucking hot fixed immediately. Like, it's just incompetence. It really is. And the fucking grenades. I don't remember the grenades ever being so annoying. Maybe it's because I didn't play around this holiday shit before, but yeah, they're cancer. They got nerfed though, so of course people are complaining about directives. Look, I guess the moral of the story is here, guys. I'm really ready for the Wrel experiment to be over. I don't have any problems with the guy personally, but you have his defenders line up to kiss his ass, and the game wouldn't be here without Wrel. Maybe that's a good thing. I've been seeing a lot of posts again popping up about PlanetSide 3. Why does this franchise deserve another game? I'm changing my mind on this in the last month or so. This franchise doesn't deserve another game. In my best guesstimation. Especially if the people that are working on it now are given the reins to do it. There's no way in hell that can happen. And I think personally that PlanetSide 2 needs to die, because if we're not going to ever learn from anything or change our practices or develop some ability to address the things that are actually wrong and fucked up and problems in the game and not just ignore them because we don't know what to do, because we don't understand the genre of game that we're the lead designer for. I don't see why this game should have a future. I don't see why there should be a PlanetSide 3. I'm just ready for this whole experiment to be over. You know, you can say, well, he saved the game with no implants themselves saved the game. Okay, he happened to be a benefactor of a system that was already in the game. You know, implants are a nice Trojan horse to fit a bunch of stupid ass design decisions into the game. I'm sure they've sold. I'm sure they've made a lot of money on it, but the pivot. This was especially interesting to me as I saw I think it was from a Reddit DM from Higby about a week ago about like the things that had needed to be addressed in the game, and this was from like I guess 2014 or so. It said force multipliers and overpop. They needed to finish the resource system, so they get with that. The game was an FPS first. I mean, where the fuck are we on that? Like, it's not this pivot into a direction where we're gonna make the game about like rich storytelling, which all the storytelling and all the campaign stuff, it looks like an intern did all of it. Like, it's embarrassingly amateur and bad. It's not interesting. This game is the biggest problem that we have is that Wrel wants to make the game into something that it's not. Okay, because he when he was playing the game as a player and a content creator, he didn't grasp what the hell the game was. The game is a bigger Battlefield game on an open continent. It's not fucking Warframe. It's not fucking Destiny. It's not fucking Mass Effect. It's not any of these things. And the areas in which, you know, you can plug in some MMO type stuff all that stuff has failed monumentally. You know, construction was a complete and total failure because I don't know what the fuck they wanted. You know, we spent 2 years on that. For what? The mission stuff. Like Sanctuary. What the hell is... What is the point of this? It has no place in the game still. And it's not like it's new, guys. It's been in the game for almost 2 fucking years now. What the fuck do you use Sanctuary for? It's just there, and understand this, it's just there because other games have a social hub. And when you don't have a core understanding of what the hell your game is, or what it should be, and the things that you should work on, and you have no ideas, you get inspiration from outside things. Like, you pull from there, you pull from here, you pull from that. It's just, I'm tired of it. Like, this pivot to going down this road of just irrelevance. Like, the game was already pretty much totally irrelevant. I mean, you want to make your game more irrelevant? Go down this road. You know, alienate the people. The market for this game is really not that big, and you're going to make it more niche and more irrelevant. So, you know, 6 people on Reddit can upvote your fucking patch notes about putting NPCs with voice lines. Like, I'm tired of it. Like, this game, it can't go anywhere with this dude, man. Like, I don't know who you get, but honestly, anyone that has a rooting interest in FPS games, and I'm not talking about I'm talking about bringing this game to its fucking roots, which is the Battlefield series, right? It's not about fucking Destiny. It's not about fucking, you know, Warframe or any other this other shit. It's not about that. And trying to mix the two into some weird, like, fucking aborted fetus looking thing, it just has always failed, and it's not enjoyable. You know, and people aren't staying. You know, you're not playing PlanetSide and sticking around for the fucking campaign or a quest hub. That's not why you're playing the game. It's just, it's so depressing, and it's frustrating for me, and I know it's frustrating for a lot of you. And a lot of you ask, you know, why do you still care so much? It's because you have a real opportunity with this game. You know, no one's doing a game on this scale, you know, like this. I've said, Christ, I think it was 5 years ago or something. I was like, man, can you imagine PlanetSide 2 if it was just like Battlefield 4 fucking pasted on top of fucking PlanetSide 2? Like, you know how fun that game would be? Yeah, I don't know. The direction, there is a direction, but it's like, it's not going any place that I'm interested in. And that's fine. You know, I get to be told how every patch is not for me. That's cool. You know, just completely alienate everybody who wants to play a shooter game because you don't understand shooter games or have any interest in them. But yeah, that's it for that. I'm ready for Rel to be done, man. Like I wish him all the best. I have no personal problems with the guy, but from a game developer standpoint, and that I think he's a complete fucking idiot. And I just, you know, go work on something else. You know, go work on something that actually, you know, can take from your ideas and stuff. Don't just try to shoehorn jam your dick in a Cheerio here with all this MMO fucking shit. Just stop. Let's see. Battlefield 2042. I played the beta for an hour. The game ran surprisingly well, but I have a pretty high end PC. The map was way too big as fuck. I think the only way that game, like most Battlefield games now, is going to be playable is in lower population game modes. If there's Frontlines and Breakthrough, I'll be playing that. I haven't bought the game yet. I think there's some things I want to see what'll get fleshed out. Vehicles are, I mean, there's nothing really to say. My experience in the beta was basically kill 4 or 5 guys in infantry combat, die to a helicopter, respawn, kill 4 or 5 guys in infantry combat, die to a helicopter, respawn, kill 4 or 5 guys, die to, like, just over and over again. And it's just, and the mouse input was bugged and all this shit, and the boomers on Reddit are massively fucking pissed that there's any kind of movement at all in the game. Gets back to, there's a lot of correlation between shit Battlefield players and shit PlanetSide players. So yeah. Other than that, I guess I'm not really playing shit right now. I guess I'm playing Frontlines and BF1 with Brodo and Coximus every once in a while here when there's actually servers. WoW Season of Mastery, I was interested in playing Classic Fresh, but Season of Mastery is a mystery as to who it's for, because all the people that are happy about world buffs, you know, not being allowed are the same people that don't understand class dynamics. And I'm convinced that Season of Mastery is for people who didn't play the game in WoW Classic. They didn't raid. They were casual, super casual shitters who never really did anything, didn't understand the game. There's a big misconception I think a lot of people had that when they came to play Classic in 2019, that the game hadn't been played on private servers for 15 plus years. And it's a solved game. So when you have a game that's been played for 15 years on private servers and they have an official way to play the game now that isn't technically illegal, and they didn't really make any real changes to the game, I'm not sure what you expected. I think a lot of people had this weird nostalgia for the way they played the game in 2004 and 2005 that didn't jive with the reality of where we were now as a gaming community in regards to that game. So a lot of disillusionment from a lot of people. I have friends that basically did the same thing. You know, they were excited for Classic. They'd played it, and then they were like appalled at how people were playing the game or what the nature of the game was. And I don't really know what you expected. I think you had unrealistic expectations. And to reboot, I like the idea of having seasonal stuff like they want to do. I'm interested in that. I think I'm still going to play it. It'll be interesting, but I think it's going to be, if it's for the boomers and the people who were upset at Classic, I don't think this is going to be any better for them. I think this is going to be harder. People think that just because you get rid of world buffs, somehow they're like, shit players think if you get rid of world buffs, like somehow they're relevant now. Like all these weird off specs are relevant. They're really not. Warrior is still the best class in the game. Warrior and Rogue. Warrior scales best with gear. I saw a post from a guy today who's like malding that's the case. They did a molten core PTR, and it's a really well known speedrun guild in Europe, Salad Bakers, and I think they had like 30 warriors in the 40-man raid for the MC PTR, and this guy was just so mad. It's like, what did you expect, man? Like like I said, I think Season of Mastery is supposed to be for people who don't understand the fucking game. Like, they're increasing all the health of the bosses and shit. Like, and there's no world boss. Like, the casual players who are shit at the game and don't care to improve or get better at it, they're gonna have a really hard time with this. So I'm not real sure who it's for. Like, the real hardcore players, like close to speedrunner guys, is I guess closest to what I was. They really don't want to play it because the world buffs are removed in raids, but I think it'll still be interesting. Maybe I don't know if it'll have longevity. I don't know. I just need something to play that isn't a terrible fucking FPS game, honestly. So we'll see when that comes out. I don't know. I saw Cammy. Cammy switched to, he's gonna go YouTube full time, not full time, but like he's not gonna do Twitch stuff anymore. And I think YouTube is good. It needs a little bit on the UI stuff. Might I move to YouTube primarily? I really don't. I used to stream about 80 hours a month, maybe 80 to 100. But the last 3 or 4 months, like my streaming is really tanked. Like, I'm lucky I do 20 hours a month now. It's just the games are so unenjoyable and not fun to play. And what I've been doing lately is, if something is unenjoyable and I don't enjoy doing it and I'm frustrated playing it, I just stop playing it. I don't force myself to. Yeah. But other than that, I just wanted to drop a little. It's kind of like an extended conversation on stuff that's going on. I didn't want to make an actual like full video or whatever. I just wanted to get on and talk to you guys and tell you what's up, how I feel about certain things, and give a little channel update. I don't, like I said, I don't know what the fuck I want to do with the channel. All those ideas that I have, the game, it just sucks all the motivation out of me to talk about it and do those things. I've seen some people dropping the game. Most of the people that I know and play with, there's only a couple people I know now that are still logging in and playing the game every day. But yeah, that's that. I don't know when I'll do another video. I may sneak in, maybe when Season of Mastery comes out, I'm probably going to stream the whole thing. I don't know if I'll stream here on Twitch. I'm not real sure, because Twitch is a piece of shit website, honestly, but there's a lot of people there. And I like the UI better, honestly. Yeah. BF2042, am I going to buy it? I don't know. We'll see what they do with some of the beta stuff. And if it looks interesting, if they clean up a lot of stuff. The beta was pretty rough. It's to be honest, it's what I expected. But yeah, if you're a new subscriber, you probably, I talked about this earlier, but you see videos popping on and off on the channel, it's because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing anymore. But I appreciate new subscribers to the channel. This will be the only video I have posted for a little while now until I decide what I want to do. But let me know what you guys, if you guys as a community come together and tell me to leave my fucking videos up, then I'll do it. But let me know what you want me to do in the comments. And that's it for me. Don't play PlanetSide. Stop playing bad FPS games. Go outside and the season's changing. It's getting a little chilly out, getting to be hoodie weather. Go breathe the fucking air and touch the grass, okay? For me. All right, later.